This is an overview of the iCrimeFighter back office. At this point, you probably have received your activation email to set up your password. And at this point, you will be able to log into the iCrimeFighter site. So what you're looking at right now is that site. It's just iCrimeFighter.com. Once you get there, you can simply come up to the login tab and go ahead and log in. So that's what I'll do right now. Once you log into your account, you will see the cases displayed down below like you do in my screen right now. We have different ways to sort it. So it will always default to the all case tab as you see it displayed on the screen. We'll talk about shared cases here in a little bit, part of the training video. My cases we'll just associate it with if you are somebody that starts cases, you have your own cases, you just want to see the breakdown of that. And then agency cases would be everything but yours in the tab there displayed. There's a number of ways that we can actually start a case. Your agency might actually be using the secured app that we have for our back office to connect to. I won't be going through that in this particular video, but just know that that is probably already being used. It works on iOS and Android. If that's the case, some of these cases may actually be created from in the field where they're collecting their photos and audio statements and so forth. If that's not the case, I'm going to walk you through just kind of how we start a case, how we go through some of the features, and how we share that case and so forth. So if you look up here, we have this create case tab up here. If I go ahead and click on that, I can go ahead and start a case by putting a case number in, a description, address, court case number. We'll talk about here in a little bit how we can edit some of this information. But that will actually create a case. And once you create a case, which I will do now, that will allow me to start adding information to it. Just keep in mind that a lot of people will use the description field for, suspect's last name or the type of incident call it is to be able to sort through and be able to filter that information through when need be. So I'll go ahead and create this case. Once I create the case, you'll notice obviously there's nothing in the case file. We have the case file displayed at the top here, which will represent obviously the no files are in here. Just keep in mind that if anybody is in the field using the secured app that I mentioned earlier, and we're all using the same case number, all that information is going to flow into one spot. Everything's going to be labeled with individuals' names and what they collected and so forth. So let me go ahead and get something in here so we have something to work with. I'm just going to go ahead and upload something into the case. Now, keep in mind that any of the items being loaded in here, there's no size restrictions. So when we're thinking about items that we're going to upload to our case, we're talking body cams, surveillance, squad videos, your reports. Obviously everything that's going to possibly go to your prosecuting attorneys would obviously be super important to put in there. And then anything that you guys are going to just store long-term for legacy cases and just have in your systems. So now that I have an item in there, I can work with something here. You'll notice that we have a file type section. So if I click on file type, this just breaks down the type of files that you have in your particular case. Obviously, we have one item in here, but you may want to see just images, videos, audios, notes, and so forth. If you have a couple hundred items, you'll obviously want to display that through maybe the file type. And then in the middle here, we have the collaborators feature. So as I spoke earlier, this will actually give you guys the ability to break down the individual that actually collected it, what they collected, so you guys can do a review if you need to, or go to a particular person if you have a question about a photo or a video and so forth. So everything will be displayed on who's part of the case. And then some of these items are just simply, obviously making things larger. And you can see that we have a sort by name, storage, and when it was created. So that's just something of your preference if you want to change that. If you do label, if the users are labeling stuff, you can kind of see that this came in with the name that it was already named when I uploaded it. But if you guys are labeling stuff, you will be able to search by that by just typing that in. So if it's a photo or something that was labeled. and you're looking for that, you'll be able to search by that particular item. If we don't want it displayed right now, it's in the grid view. If we want it more in a list view, you can just click on that little icon there. Nice thing is it'll display down here, probably give you a little bit more information too. There's the user information, the type of document it is and so forth for you guys to see in real time. I'm just going to change it back for the training side of this, but refresh obviously just refreshes the screen if there's information or ongoing case and people are in the field or just people actively adding stuff to the case. That's what that does. I do want to hit on the copy direct link feature. So what this allows you guys to do is your RMS system more than likely allows you to put a lot of stuff in, but sometimes we run into issues with body cam squad videos, stuff very large in size that it's going to create some problems for us to put in there. So think of us as this large depository for everything, and we can link it to that. So within your RMS system, and we can assist, our team can assist to help you guys with this, but within your RMS system, a lot of those systems will have, a place for like a notes or an evidence tab area where we can actually put a hyperlink. So that's what this is essentially doing. I could click on this, it'll basically copy that hyperlink, and then I can just paste that directly into my RMS system. Then it just streamlines a process from RMS to iCrimeFighter for all those items are kept. We also have to have permissions, obviously, to see that. We will be brought to a login screen. If we don't have permissions, we obviously won't see those files. So that's just something that, as you guys start getting going with your iCrimeFighter solution, might be something to consider to make your workflow a little easier for you. There's a number of ways that we can upload items. So I showed you earlier, obviously just, finding the item on your desktop or wherever it may be stored through the upload feature, which you find here. That's easy. We can also do a drag and drop. So if I have that item somewhere, I can go ahead and just drag and drop into the main case window as you see now. I won't be getting into this, but obviously more than likely I've talked to your department, or we've talked to your department about something called the desktop uploader. So what that would allow you guys to do is have that on a particular computer or computers and be able to drag and drop an entire folder of items into that, where it would just then create a case automatically in iCrimeFighter, or obviously associate those items to existing case within iCrimeFighter. So this, keep in mind that there's multiple workflows to upload items to help with your efficiencies within your department, and especially those large body cam videos and squad videos, so we don't have to watch the spinning wheel as those are in the process of uploading. I do want to hit on this. More than likely, while you guys were in the process of seeing this solution as a value, you've probably seen a feature called Evidence Anywhere. So what this allows you guys to do is basically securely send a link or an invite to somebody and remotely collect that stuff to your case file. So if I needed a Ring doorbell, or if I need a surveillance footage from somebody, I could put a name, email, message of whatever sort and send that. That requested party gets that email, they accept it, there's a security code that follows, and then they just put whatever it is that you're requesting of them into that porthole. Once they hit send and upload it, it will give them a confirmation, and also you, whoever initiated it, a confirmation to say, hey, that's been complete. Just keep in mind, this is a one-way street. They're not seeing anything other than what they're actually uploading. And obviously, once it's uploaded, it'll be directly in the case file, and you guys will see that in real time. So kind of takes the process out of sending a deputy or an officer on site to collect it, to burn a CD or do whatever. That's just a great feature to be able to collect that stuff in real time. I want to just kind of go over the creating folders. So a lot of agencies will have, hundreds and hundreds of files from different properties. And so what you may want to do is you may want to break those particular items in folders. So you can see over here, we have referenced, I don't have any folders in this case, but if I wanted to, I could simply come up here and I will just call this folder 1. I hit save. And here in a second, you'll see that there is no items, obviously in folder 1, But now I've created a case, and if I wanted to, I could simply move this to a folder by clicking move, and I will do that now so you guys can see that in real time. And we can either copy or move. I will simply move, and you can see now that's moved to there. Just keep in mind there will always be all files to display everything in the case, as somebody may want to do that. But as somebody's going through the case files itself, they may want to review that and see that in real time, kind of a breakdown of those particular evidence. So that's how the folders work. To edit our case profile, I know from time to time the case number might be actually entered incorrectly. That's okay. There will be certain people with these particular permissions to be able to do this, but this can be changed. So you can see I just clicked on this little pencil here, and that basically allows us to edit some of this case profile information. So if you remember from the beginning, I put this case number in, put the description. You can see this will actually come into play when the court case number will come into play when I go ahead and share it. I'm going to do that here in a second. When the prosecuting attorney's office gets it, that's probably something they'll want to enter into their case, because that'll probably be more relevant for them to search by, and I'll show you guys how that all kind of plays out. But that's how you would edit the case profile. The print feature basically will just print out the case history, a display of it, so you can either print it out in form, or you can actually print it out in convert it to a PDF. So let me actually click on the case history. So case history is a snapshot of everything that's happened with the case. You can see that we have different tabs up here to display users. We also have different tabs up here to display different event types that happen to the case. This is a short case, but if it's an ongoing large investigations, there's going to be a lot of activity. We may want to break it down by different events that have happened. And then you guys can obviously display the time frame that you may be looking for, depending on how long how long a case this has been going on. So that's the case history. Keep in mind, once I share this here in a second, all that information of what I'm showing you on the screen will be actually available to the prosecuting attorney's office. So this will really be a good snapshot for them to see, kind of how things originated, where they come from. Like that evidence anywhere feature, it will display items received, items of location, obviously the person that was received by. So it'll be a good transparency of, kind of what's happening to the case. All right, so let's talk about the case share. So many of the departments obviously listening to this training session, this was kind of the main piece to kind of going with iCrimeFighter, besides obviously the storage and some of the other benefits of our solution. But we've connected you more than likely at this point to your prosecuting attorney's office being the main spot. But keep in mind, in a county setting, we look at everybody that could share to each other. So, think about the PDs, think about the sheriff, depending on what you are, you guys could share back and forth and so forth. So there's a number of different ways that we can share depending on, the workflow of that prosecuting attorney's office. So one would be, think about it. We look at every prosecuting attorney's office as they're kind of, let's call it the main hub. Everybody's going to send information to them from the county standpoint, the PDs and the sheriffs. And so when we need to share, you guys would click on this little tab. It would already be displayed in there, whatever the county name of your prosecuting attorney's office is. And when you're ready to share, you simply flip the switch. By flipping the switch, we'll indicate or send a notification to that party to saying, hey, this is there, it's available. They can either click on the link that you provided them, or they can simply go to their iCrimeFighter account and log in and see those shared cases. And I'll show you how their display looks here very shortly. The other way to do it that might actually make it easier, especially if it's a larger prosecuting attorney's office and they have different folks working on different types of cases, like felony, misdemeanors, and so forth, they can actually click in here. I'm going to click on this prosecuting attorneys. This one actually is set up for groups. So it's still going to the agency, but I can break it up into individuals that those particular cases need to go to. So I know this case is going to be charged as a felony, and I'm going to click on it. And when I hit save, you still have an agency admin over there at that county attorney's or prosecuting attorney's office, but it goes to those particular attorneys that only work on those different cases. And that's it. So you flip the switch, they have it. Any ongoing information that they continues to go into this particular case, we'll notify them. They'll receive it. There's nothing you guys need to do. The system will kind of become the kind of communication for you. So that's kind of how that works. I'll talk about how they will push this to defense here in a second, but I want to hit on the restricted cases. So depending on your agency size, and if we've talked about it, we might have already set up your different groups and helped you out with this already, but there's two different ways that we think about like a case restriction. And one is a user restriction, the other one is group restriction. So you'll notice that when I click on user restrictions, you'll have a display of different names that have access to it. So to lock somebody out, you just remove the check. To give somebody access, you obviously just put a check mark by their name, hit save, and that will save the case and restrict the case. You can see that's locked. It was locked obviously previously. Same thing applies to group restrictions. And these can actually be set up where as they upload items and so forth, they only can see certain groups and so forth. But you'll notice that on this particular screen, you know, we have two particular groups that have check marks by them. Those are the only two groups that have access to it. The only groups that can see it. The other groups don't have any access point to it. The one thing worth noting is the fact that everybody can add to a restricted case, but not all obviously eyes can see it. So that's important if you're doing like an internal investigation or something where there's a lot of information that needs to be gathered from various parties. Everybody will be able to do that. All right, so now I want to show you really quickly, you know, the county attorneys or the prosecuting attorney's office has this information. How do they share it? Well, they simply can come up here to select all. If I had more than one item, I can actually deselect the items that I don't want to send if they're not ready to be sent. And I come up here and do a send by email. So I can put in, I'll put my email in there. I put my email, I put, we'll put test, and then I can simply hit next. So what this is going to do is it's basically going to send, well, myself, a secure downloadable link. This link is good for 30 days. It's a one-time download. It'll give them access to download it directly to their computer. If they want to burn it to a CD, they can do all that from that link. They do not need an iCrimeFighter account to be able to access and be able to do this. So that's really nice for not only defense attorneys from a prosecuting attorney's side, but also as a department side, you guys should be thinking about how do we basically, you know, just disclose different open records requests and so forth. You guys would be able to do the same thing. Now, it's also important to let you know that within the case history, all that information is going to be displayed, right? So who you sent it to and when they got it, but also when they downloaded those items. So I know a lot of departments that we talk to, sometimes, you know, it's the common, I didn't get it, you know, can you send it to me again? Regardless if you send it to them again or not, at least it would display in there that yes, they did get it, and you know, it was received on such and such date. I do want to show you real quick, and then I'm going to take you to share case, and then I'll probably complete this training. But up here by your name, there's a couple little dots here, and a couple things that you'll notice in here. There's one is the contact us form. So any support stuff, it would probably be easy just to go through that. We have multiple people on our team that can respond in a very timely fashion to help you guys out in any you know, needs or concerns that you guys have. The other thing that's worth noting is some of these other settings in here. So if I go to my profile, these are individual settings that can be set. You'll notice when you go into your profile, you'll see a list of what permissions you have available to you. And then if you go into my settings, these are different things that obviously can be set based on how your preference want to be. Now, just keep in mind that those are only going to be individualized to you and don't affect anybody else, but I just wanted to point out where those are at. The last thing I want to do is I just want to go back to the case. So I'm just going to click at the tab. I'm going to want to show you that share cases. So this is a display that really the county attorney's, prosecuting attorney's office is going to live. They have all tabs available to them, but they're not going to be creating cases. So the share cases are really what they're going to really be focusing on. So when they do that, they'll see, you know, the case number, that's where I was talking about the court case number will come into play. So they'll be able to enter that within that edit profile area. And then they'll be able to search. So this was the same earlier, is they can go and search up here, type in what they're looking for. They can also do a date range and apply that, and then they can find it. But it will display obviously who it's going to, who was created by. Obviously, there's multiple agencies within your county, which typically there is. They will be able to sort by that as well, to only see maybe from a particular PD the cases that they want to see. But that's just really what I wanted to show you. Hopefully this video will help get you guys off and running. Obviously, you can always reach out. We can always schedule additional training if needed. But this is where I'll stop, and appreciate your time, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Thank you.